Hey y'all, it's your girl Lisa and I am back with another reflections video. You guys, today I have a long overdrawn video that I have been wanting to do for about a year now, and it has taken me that long to get up the courage to actually do this video. Now, I want to start out with a disclaimer, okay? I've been in a lot of relationships, okay? I've been married a couple of times. So I just want to make it clear that this video is not one specific person. This video is just about how to know if he is not the one, okay? So I've had a lot of experience in him not being the one. And I am not a relationship expert at all, you guys. I am just a person who has been in love. I am a sucker for love. I love love. I have a big heart. God is love, and I'm filled with the Lord, and I'm just full of love. And so I'm a love junkie. I love everything about relationships and all that. So I found myself in many relationships, 100% failed relationships. And so I just know that I wasn't born that way. I wasn't given that gift, and I don't possess this heart to love for no reason. I know that everything I went through throughout these years has been to help someone. I know it for a fact. A matter of fact, I will give my testimony at some point on my channel, but I see it resonating in my life like every single day. So this video is just for me to just share what I've learned through experience. Like I said, I'm no relationship expert at all. I may not even be the person to talk to, because people would say, you haven't had a successful relationship, so how can you tell me anything about a relationship? Well, I can tell you about what not to do, okay? Because I've seen it and I've done it all, okay? All of it. Lord Jesus. What haven't I been through when it comes to relationships? But guess what? It's all behind me now, all right? So if you guys are interested in my tips, or maybe some of the things that I noticed when I was out there dealing with the wrong one, he ain't it, sis, he ain't the one, then just keep watching. All right, you guys, so I'm going to refer to my notes. You guys know I am a planner girl. I absolutely love my happy planner, and so I have my notes written here, and so I will be referring to my notes. So this video is, you guys, like I said before, it's not about one specific person. I'm going to just be talking across the board. So I pray and I hope that I do not offend. Let me start by saying this. What I learned in all of these failed relationships was I learned about myself, and I learned that I was the common denominator, okay? I learned that I was the reason why I was experiencing all of these bad relationships. So it wasn't just these men who were just causing turmoil in my life. I was doing this to myself. It's self-inflicted, okay? And so it took a lot of self-reflecting to learn that about myself, that's what I was attracting. What I was receiving was what I was attracting, okay? So this isn't to beat anybody up. This is just, I want to help you. I want to help someone skip some of these steps. I want to help someone to recognize it before it gets too deep, because a lot of times in my relationships, I let it get too deep. I let it get way too deep, and it caused for reaction. It calls for terrible reactions. So if I can help, I just want to be a help. I just want to be a light, okay? All right, you guys, so let's just jump in. I'm going to tell you 7 things that I noticed when I realized that this man was not the one. Like, he was not the one. So the first thing that I always noticed was self-reflection. Like, I always noticed that I was kind of dimming my light. I always noticed that I was kind of like, shriveling down. I wasn't being as bright as I could be. I wasn't, I didn't want to be front and center. You know what I mean? I would tell myself, I don't want to be the center of attention. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody paying attention to me. Let him do his thing. Let me push him forward. It's all about him. And I wasn't trying to build myself up. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't putting energy into myself, into loving myself, into being there for myself, into healing myself. Like, there was no self-reflecting. In every relationship that I was in, when I noticed that he wasn't the one, I could look back and see that there was no self-reflecting at all. I would like downplay my purpose. And for me, I pretty much knew what my purpose was very early on, but because it wasn't something that was popular, or it wasn't something that was typical, or it wasn't something that would, I guess, like make me a lot of money, like made me famous and had me recognized or whatever, I kind of downplayed it, and I allowed other people to downplay it. It wasn't something that I was just like, oh, let me step into my purpose. It wasn't something that I could put on a vision board and show everybody. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that just stood out. So I felt like it was something to kind of be ashamed of. You know what I mean? So I would downplay my purpose instead of stepping all the way into my purpose. So those are some of the things that I noticed, just self-reflecting, just self-reflection. Like I just wasn't doing what it was that I needed to do. So yeah, self-reflection, number one. All right, so number two would be intuition. That thing is so strong, you guys. Like, intuition, when that thing taps you, when it knocks on the door, hearing it, sis, like, something ain't right. Like, you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? You gotta pay attention. You can't just ignore your intuition. Your intuition is nothing but God. It is the Lord speaking to you, letting you know something is wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean that this isn't the person that you should be with, but it does mean pay attention. And God tapped me so many times. I'll give you one example. In one relationship, I was with this guy, and I didn't want to have sex, but then I wanted to have sex. And he kind of like drew me in, like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I respect that, but we could still do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I felt like, okay, so I gave in, we had sex, and as soon as the act was over, my intuition just flooded me. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Like, this is not right. Like, he is not right for you. Any man that respects you and loves you and is good for you and the one for you, he will respect your wishes. Okay? He will respect your wishes. So my intuition was telling me right off, like, this is not who I need to be with. Even that same guy told me, like, my relationship with God was growing and it was getting stronger, and I was so happy and I had so much joy in the Lord. And this guy told me, I don't really want to be with somebody who is a real Christian. And I thought, what? Like, I don't want to be with somebody who's holier than thou. And I was like, huh? And I allowed him to allow that to make sense to me when I knew that didn't make any sense. Like, God was right there. Tap, tap, tap. Like, this ain't right. He ain't the one. Pay attention. So yeah, that intuition, you got to listen, you guys. Listen to it, because the Lord is right there waiting to give you what it is that you want. He wants to give you the desires of your heart. I say this all the time. He's a gentleman. He is not going to force his way through. You have to open the door. So listen, open the door, open the window, crack the door, slide under the door, do whatever it is you have to do. But listen to the Lord, hear him, and get where you need to be, okay? So intuition, number two. All right, you guys, number three would be needing approval. Y'all, anytime I was in a relationship, I needed approval. And like, this is all back to self-reflecting, but I yearned for this man's approval. I yearned for him to say, job well done. I yearned for him to say, I needed you to do that. Or I yearned for him to say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I yearned for him to say, you did that well. That was wonderful. Like, I needed it. Like, I needed air to breathe. And there's nothing wrong with compliments, but when you do something for someone, when you do something out of yourself, and from your heart, you should never expect anything back. It should just be something that you give because you want to, because you love that person, because that person loves you. You just want to fill them up because you know that they want to fill you up. If you get to a point where you're feeling like, okay, I want to hear something back. Like, I need your approval. Like, what is going on? I haven't heard from you. Do you appreciate me? You thank me? Did you see what I did? Did you see that? Like, I created this. Did you see that? I did this for you. If any point in time you're asking all of those questions and you're trying to pull this out of this person, he is not the one. Pay attention to his actions. Pay attention to what he's doing. Pay attention to what he's saying, but also watch the actions behind it, and that's all the approval you need. You may not hear it all the time. You may not get that pat on the back all the time, but if he is pouring into you, you will see it, you will hear it, and you will feel it. Trust me, you will. Trust me, you will. So, needing approval. If you got to beg for it, sis, he ain't the one, okay? He is not the one. So, number four would be lying. Like, that hurts, right? Lying. Let me tell you guys, and I'm still working on this to this day, y'all. I am being so transparent right now. I'm still working on this to this day. But lying, I would just lie. I mean, I would just tell a lie when I was with someone who was just not right for me, just because I didn't want to upset them, or because I didn't want to, tilt the scale. Like, I didn't want anything to be unbalanced. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted everything to go right. So I would lie. It would go along the lines of needing approval, but I would say whatever. I would do whatever. Like, I could go out and, in my relationships, and I'm talking about marriage and dating and relationships, boyfriends, all of that. I could go out and I'd be like, oh, I want these shoes. I want these shoes so bad. And the shoes could be $199. And I would come in and just give out a lie. Oh, they was $99. Just because I didn't want to hear, what was being said. Or, one example of a situation, y'all, I'm using real life situations here. I'm being very transparent. And one situation I was in one of my marriages, I, said, oh, yeah, I can cook this. Yeah, I can make that and blah, blah, blah. I almost burnt down the house because I didn't know how to cook that dish. Like, I was just lying just because it goes along the lines of needing approval, and just because I was just lying, because that is not who God had for me. Like, he was not the one, and I felt like I had to impress him. I felt like I had to just do things that would make them happy. And in that, you find yourself telling lies when you are just doing things out of approval, out of just wanting to be with someone who isn't right for you. You know what I mean? Things just won't flow naturally. They just will not. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're in a relationship, or you're in a marriage, or you're in a situationship where you find that you are always lying, even if it's just because you want to make that person feel better about themselves, or you want, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know what it is that you're looking for, but you tell the lie because you want to even look good to them. Like, you want to come off to them as a better person, or like you're lining up with their purpose. You'll lie because you want to line up with their purpose, and you want to be equally yoked. So you'll lie about that. Like, let me tell you, if you find yourself doing that, then you're probably with the wrong person, because when you're with the person that God has for you, there's no room for error. Like, you don't have to fake it. You don't have to be phony. You don't have to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You can be you. So when you're not being your authentic self, that's when lies come in. And when you're with the wrong person, 9 times out of 10, you're not being your authentic self and you're lying, okay? Trust me, I know. I know, I've been there. I mean, even in my relationship now, I'm dating Brian. Everybody know, if you know me, you know my channel, and you know who I am, then you know that I'm dating, and I'm dating this amazing guy named Brian Parker. And the conversation that we were having, because y'all, we dig deep and we don't hold anything back. And he told me, he's like, you don't have to lie to me. You don't have to prove yourself to me. Like, you don't have to tell me things to make me feel better. Like, you don't have to need my approval. Like, you don't have to meet my approval. I love you for who you are. And I thought, man, what am I lying about? And you get so entangled with those things, and you get so entangled in your mind that you're not even conscious sometimes of what you're doing. So yeah, so I had to work. I really had to work at not being like that, and kind of making sure that everything that I say came from my authentic self. And when I tell y'all, oh my gosh, I feel so free, and I've grown so much. Oh my gosh, I've grown so much, and I feel so free. So yeah, number 4, lying. Yeah, it's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. Lying. All right, you guys, number 5. Number 5 would be not feeling good about yourself, okay? If you're in a relationship and this person is making you feel inadequate, if this person is making you feel less than, if this person is making you feel like you're not enough, then he's not the one, okay? I can tell you, I was in a relationship where I was with this guy, and he always told me, you need to gain weight. And I thought, that's kind of weird, but I'm a very thin frame, small person. And I always heard, you should gain weight. You need to gain weight. You're a little too small. You're a little too thin. You should gain weight. Not, are you eating right? Are you getting enough protein? Not things that you would actually care about my health about, but you cared about my vanity. You cared about how I looked. And if he's focused on how you look, if he's focused on your vanity, then he's not the one. Because guess what? That is going to fade. Beauty fades over time. And anyone who wants to be with you over time is not looking at your outer appearance. They're looking at you from within. They're looking at your heart. So, no. I make sure that you know that you're good enough. In another marriage, one of my ex-husbands was telling me that, you should have a degree. Like, you should do this and you should do that. You should be doing so much more. Like, why don't you have a degree? You could be doing this job and you could be doing that job. All the things that lined up with his purpose and not mine. And I fell into it. I fell into those traps, and I started feeling inadequate. I started feeling as if like I wasn't enough. I started feeling like I wasn't smart enough. I started feeling like, because I didn't have a degree, because I didn't finish school, that, I was a failure. Like, I really started feeling like that. And I started to see myself through his eyes. Not the one, okay? The one will come in and he will build you up. I can remember when Brian and I first started dating, and we had all of these phone conversations. I asked him, I said, have you ever been with someone who was uneducated? Someone who wasn't smart? And he said to me, yeah, I've been with a lot of people who weren't smart, and most of them had degrees. And, and that resonated with me so much, because he noticed that you don't have to have a degree to be smart. I'm a very intelligent person, very much so. But it wasn't until I started loving myself that I really realized that. I saw myself through the eyes of others. And that is something that you should never do. You are enough. You are enough right where you are. Like I said, he will come in and he will lift you up. Brian told me, he said, if you want to get a degree, if that's a desire of yours, if that's a goal for you, I'll be here for you 110%. I'll help you every step of the way. If I have to read the textbooks to you, I will. But if it's not something that's in your heart, if it's not part of your purpose, if it's not your will and your desire, then don't feel like you're not enough, because you are. You are. And y'all, that freed me in such a way that, I could cry now just thinking about it. It freed me. It freed me from so much shame, self-shame, that, it freed me. You are enough. All right, you guys. Number six. This one is so important. I got to get myself together. This one is very important, you guys. Number 6, if anger is all up in your relationship, if anger is the core and the foundation of your relationship and your situation, then you're with the wrong person. He ain't the one. If anger is the first response, he ain't the one. If anger is what you feel most of the time in the relationship, he ain't the one. If you argue a lot, he ain't the one, okay? If there is just an attitude in the atmosphere a lot of the time, he ain't the one, okay? Because guess what? God does not deal in frustration. God does not deal in confusion. God does not dwell in sadness and self-pity and in anger at all. At all. Nothing but pure joy, okay? So if you're in a relationship where that is happening most of the time, I'm not telling you that anger is not going to happen. It's going to happen, okay? Because we're human. We're living on earth. We are spiritual beings, okay? And we're just living a human experience, all right? So anger is gonna happen. Frustration is gonna happen. Sadness is gonna happen. All those things are going to happen. But if those are the foundations of your relationship, if that's happening all of the time, if it's circling around you a lot, he ain't the one. He ain't the one. And y'all, it took me a long time to learn that. It took me a long time to learn that. And I learned the hard way, okay? I learned the hard way. If it's anger in there constantly, he ain't the one. Get out. Get out. All right, you guys. And number 7, the last tip, number 7. If he is focused on sex, if he's focused on your body, if it's all about the get down, he ain't the one. I'm sorry. He is not the one. The man that God has for you will see past your outer beauty. I said that before. He will see your heart. He will want to get to know who you are for who you are. I'm not saying that he should not be attracted to you, because he should be attracted to you and you should be attracted to him. But that should not be your focus. That should not be what your relationship is based off of. So if you meet a guy and y'all get along and the date was great and all that, and then you take him home and it's only been 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates. And listen, I can't judge because I've been there. I had some one night stands, sweetie. I've been there. I've had some marriages that were based off of that first night of having some good sex, okay? I'm telling you. If your relationship is based off that, that's all you are going to get. It's 15 minutes of satisfaction out of that relationship, okay? That's all I'm saying. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes. I don't care. However long it's happening, that's all you're going to get in your relationship, all right? Because guess what? He should be focused on your inner beauty. He should be focused on your heart. He should be focused on your mind. Because if he's trying to spend a lifetime with you, then guess what? Over a lifetime, that stuff is going to fade. And I'm not saying that it's not important. It is important. Sex is a beautiful thing. It's a gift from God. I feel like God created it for a man and a woman, husband and wife, to experience in holy matrimony under his will. And I truly and I honestly believe that. And when we step outside of that, it just clouds things up. It makes everything murky because we can't see what God has for us because we're focused on that quick, good feeling. You know what I'm saying? We're focused on that intense passion. You know what I mean? So if he is just studying you and studying your body, like, oh, girl, you so fine and blah, blah, blah. If that's all he got to say every time y'all talk, he ain't the one. He is not the one. If all he wants to talk about is what y'all did the night before, he ain't the one. If all he wants to talk about is what y'all can do tomorrow, he ain't the one. So if you ask him, if you say to him, what is it about me that you like? What is it about me that you love? What is it about me that draws me to you? What is it? And he mentions your body. he mentions your butt, or he mentions your thighs, or he mentions your breasts, you know, something sexual, he is not the one. What he should be drawn to is your heart. What he should be drawn to is who you are as a person. What he should be thinking about is how you are going to mother his children, if that's the route that you want to go in. What he should be thinking about is how you're going to love him past his mistakes. How would he love you if something happened to you? Would he take care of you? Will he be there for you? How will he love your parents when they get older? How will he love them? How will he love your children together? Those are the things that you should be. How is he going to handle your finances? How is he going to lead you? How is he going to lead you spiritually? How is he going to worship with you? You know what I mean? Not your body. Not your body, boo. Now, let me tell you, it's important. It's important. It's important. I'll be the first to say that it is important. Very much so important. And a matter of fact, in most of my relationships, it was kind of like a focus point for me because I was very active. You know what I mean? But once I started to learn to love myself and be whole within myself and tag on to my relationship with the Lord, that's when I realized that this shell right here, this body, this mess, this clay, this junk is not my focus. My focus is my heart. My focus is my soul. My focus is winning souls for the Lord. That's my focus. So you guys, if he's talking about sex in your body, he ain't the one. All right, you guys. So I hope and I pray that this helps someone. I feel like this is my purpose, you guys. I feel like everything that I have experienced, everything that I have been through was for a reason. It was to help someone else. It wasn't just for me. Every lesson that I learned, I want to pass it down to someone else because those lessons were learned for a reason. All right. So I hope that the lessons and the tips that I gave you today will help you. I hope that they rest on your heart. I hope that you can hear God in it. I hope that you can feel my love in it. And I pray and I pray and I pray that if there's anyone out there who is in a bad relationship, especially domestic violence, mental abuse, any type of abusive relationship, my heart goes out to you, and I pray that you know you are enough and you can get out. I'm telling you, you can. And God will be there with you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. There are 7 promises that God has given us. And to love you is the most important one. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big, big, big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and do not forget to subscribe. And if you already subscribed, hit that notification bell, ding, ding. That way, anytime I post a video, you will be notified. But most of all, y'all be blessed. Keep planning, keep praying, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.